Good morning, Grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blender HD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Thursday, September 8th. It's football time. It's NFL football time tonight. Tonight, we got the first football game of the regular season. We got the Bills. We got the Rams. We got Thursday night football. We're all excited until we actually watch the game and go, oh, my God, 3.5 hours of this crap, okay? People get all excited for NFL until they realize watching an entire game full through and everything is like, wow, a lot of downtime and a lot of bad play. A lot of bad play calling and whatever. Maybe it'll be a good game tonight. What's like a 51 total? Something like 51, 52 total. So maybe it is. Most Thursday night games are not going to be very good. But I'll talk about that today on today's show. And if you could, give me those thummy thumbs. You know how much I love those. Give me the thummy thumbs in the morning. Right? Helps us out. It's a free show. Right? You get this for free. Right? If you did. The least you could do is hit the thumbs up button or hit the subscribe button or hit the notification bell to know when we go live. If you don't know, oh, it's live, hit the notification bell. We've got shows later today. We got baseball today, right? There's some baseball. We'll have a pre-lock show for Showdown tonight. So that's at like 7:30 Eastern. We're going to come out with a lot of content. A lot of NFL seasons here. So you're going to see a lot of content from RotoGrinders, from Scores and Odds. Grant probably going through some NFL stuff. We got Will with some prop betting and Britt, stuff like that. I'm behind the paywall. Other than this show, I'm doing a premium game stacks, game theory show with Tuttle, and that'll be posted tomorrow for premium members, right? So get your premium subscription to RotoGrinders. Get the NFL package. If you just want to play NFL, just get the NFL. You get the stuff for the main slate, afternoon only slate, for the showdowns and everything. You get everything, right? You could get the simulations for showdowns, the sim tool. I'll bring that up soon. And you get access to the Discord, right? And I'm in there. I'm in there more often than most other people. And I have my own channel. It's called Blender's Game Theory. You go in and ask me questions, talk about whatever the hell you want. When it comes to DFS strategy, I answer everything. I can spend hours there if needed. And then I also run Zoom coaching calls, which the next one will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So get your any package. You don't need the NFL package, combo premium. You're playing baseball, you're playing basketball. NBA will be back in 6-7 weeks or so. So join us. Join us here at RotoGrinders. RotoGrinders.com/premium. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. But it's football season. It's absolutely football season, and we got a showdown tonight. I want to highlight some things today on today's show for Showdown. Okay, I know it's very small on the screen. I'm trying to share as much information as possible. Okay, so we got Lineup HQ. I got my Excel tools, which are part of the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. It's my course. Me and James McCool. We have a beginner's course, kind of a fundamentals course, 15 hours, right? And then we just released a week and a half ago the advanced course, right? Theory of DFS for advanced players. And it comes with 7 Excel tools to increase your efficiency, increase your accuracy. And one of the things that's useful for, one of the tools, several of the tools, but one of the main ones is the duplication checker and duplication predictor that we have included. And you use this in tandem with like a lineup builder. Okay, so this isn't going to make the lineups for you. Okay, this is meant to analyze your lineups. So still use Lineup HQ for RotoGrinders. So what I did, this is what I did this before the show just to save time. Okay, so I went in and based on our ownership currently, the RG premium projections, which obviously sign up for premium and get them, and I tried to recreate kind of like what the most used lineups, kind of what combinations of players and everything. So I kind of like went into the captains and just like, I want, if Josh Allen's going to be around 25% owning the captain, I want 25% of my lineup. So I'm building 300 lineups and doing this. So Cup, 22%, 19% or so in the captain, down to like Darrell Henderson. I eliminated the ones that are under 1%, right? You could make those, but for time purposes, I didn't. So that's what I tried to do. Try to like get all the captains right. And then I ran the build a couple of times and just to even out kind of the exposure. Like I wasn't getting enough Jamison Crowder, even though he was going to be 9% owned projected. I wasn't getting enough of like Cam Akers, right? He was like 20 something projected. So I'm bumping them up just so I get them, right? In enough lineups. So I was able to build 300 lineups. I'm going to switch over here. And, it's not going to be perfect or anything, but it'd be close enough directionally. So I could build lineups. And these aren't the lineups I'm playing. I'm not saying that I'm playing any of these lineups. These are the lineups that I want to see how duplicated the combinations of players are. Okay? So even if you were to build your lineups, you could use this tool on the other side called a duplication predictor, which is at theoryofdfs.com. And it runs in Excel. If you have Excel 2021 or above or a Microsoft 365 subscription, and you have a PC or Mac, you could run these, right? We give them to you. So you basically, I insert the projections. So you download them from Lineup HQ. You plug them in here, match the columns, salary, everything. And then I took those 300 lineups and I put them in this, right? Separate sheets, very easy. You just cut and paste. It's really, it'll take you 20 seconds at most for the projections and the lineups. And then you go over, you load the lineups, you click the button to load the lineups, and you go to portfolio check. And what this will show is the total salary of the lineup, the total ownership sum of the lineup, and the predicted, based on the ownership product and the salary, because as you get higher in salary, the more likely you're going to be duped. It predicts based on, you can put in the field size right up over here. I know it's very hard to see, right? I'm trying to fit a lot of stuff on the screen at once. You put in the field size. So if you're only playing like 1,000-person GPP, so make that 1,000. This is for the large field, milli, whatever tonight, the $10, right? 355,000 or so entries. And then you put in, and it'll show you all your lineups. You load your lineups, and you could sort by any of these columns. It'll show you based on the prediction, right? Which is just an estimate. How many lineups in your portfolio are under 20 dupes, under 10 dupes, under 5 dupes, and unique? So obviously, since I'm trying to build lineups that are going to be used a lot, right? Combinations, I'm using the ownership to kind of like mold 300 lineups that kind of look like the field. I'm not going to have many uniques, right? I'm not doing this just to play these lineups. I'm doing this to see the combinations, right? See the salary levels. See, are there ones that have like kind of popular players and maybe they aren't duped as much? And realize that the fragility of these predictions, if you want to call it, the estimates, are very dependent on your ownership projections. So if you're off on the ownership, you're going to be way off on this. So for instance, if I go into the projections, our current projections have Isaiah McKenzie in the flex at 16% owned. That ain't happening. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. Isaiah McKenzie may be one of the most owned players on the entire slate. If he's going to be the starting slot receiver over Jamison Crowder today at 2,400, there's no way. And then we also have Ben Skroenik, who Van Jefferson is questionable, but I think he's going to be out. So Skroenik will be the third wide receiver. Of course, they'll use tight ends. Higbee will be there. It's not like he's going to be the biggest option, but for his price at like 1,800, like he's going to be more than 3% owned in the flex. Okay, so if you want to, just from a directionally standpoint, you could change the ownership. So I could go in here and I could say instead of 3.09, maybe he's going to be 13.09. Right? I change that. And then I go to McKenzie. I find McKenzie. Where's McKenzie here? McKenzie, where'd you go? Isaiah McKenzie, 16.75. Yeah, that's not happening. Right? That's really not happening. So I'll bump that up to 36.75. Right? You can do that. Now, obviously, that'll affect the ownership of other players. So technically, you should be going in and changing, who does that affect and who does that move around? But even if you just want to do that, I could go there and go back to the portfolio check, and then I'm going to reload the lineups, right? So obviously, my McKenzie lineups are going to go up in duplicates, and Skroenik lineups will go up in duplicates also. Oh, and Casey Douglas in the chat says Jefferson's already been ruled out. Okay, so even better. Okay, even better. Our RG projections already have Van Jefferson out, so there's nothing to even wait for. It's already accounted for. The ownership, I don't think, has been updated for that. So now looking at this, I could go through and I could see, okay, what combinations of players, what ownership sums. If I go to like sort by most dupes, right? We see this lineup up here. I know it's very. I'm stretching just to see my third monitor over here. Maybe move this over a little because I got something underneath there as well. So we got screens upon screens upon screens on the screen, right? We got tons of stuff. So this lineup looks to be one of the most duplicated lineups. Is basically it looks like a Buffalo 5-1 onslaught using 49-6, and it's McKenzie captain with Singletary, Davis, Diggs, Stafford, and Allen. Okay, because I think McKenzie at 2,400. I'm not sure if you can build a lineup that isn't that duplicated with him as captain while spending like 49,000 plus. So if you're thinking that you're going to be sneaky, I'm going to play McKenzie captain, right? Well, you better leave a lot of money on the table. So we got if we say like let's say the top Cooper Kupp lineup. Like this lineup looks like almost like a cash lineup right here. 290. I mean, this is the highest ownership sum lineup, so we could sort by that. Right, so the highest ownership sum lineup, predicted dupes around 2,000, 49.6 in salary, 290 in ownership, is McKenzie captain with both quarterbacks, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, and Ben Skroenik. So I would have to expect that you're gonna see this lineup in double ups a lot. I'm going to assume. You should not be playing it in a large field GPP. You shouldn't be playing it. Look how many dupes there are. Okay. And then even over here, 23.97. That's that onslaught. So we see, look, if we sort by ownership, if we sort by dupes, right? Estimated dupes up here. Look how many McKenzie captain lineups there are. McKenzie captain, especially using most of the salary. Here's one at 47.8. That's Gabe Davis, James Cook, McKenzie, Diggs, Stafford, Allen. Right? Even that lineup predicted to be duped. It may not be duped 1,500 times, but definitely three figures, definitely over 100, right? And this is all based on the ownership projections here at RotoGrinders. So you could take a look and you could see, what types of lineups are going to be more duped than others, which ones aren't. So we go the other way, right? So here's like a 0, right? Not saying it won't be duped. It could be. Josh Allen, a captain, is like, oh, well, he's going to be the highest owned captain. How could that lineup not be duped? It's a 48-4 lineup, but it has McKenzie in it. But it also has Tommy Sweeney, which is like a 1% owned tight at the second tight end. So a lot of these lineups, if we take a look at the lineups that aren't as duplicated, what do they have in common? Okay? So it doesn't mean you can't avoid, you can still play Josh Allen, right? It's right here. But it looks like Crowder, Darrell Henderson, right? Some of these lineups still have Cooper Kupp in it. Dawson Knox a captain, right? So you look at what are the similarities, and obviously ones that leave money on the table. But here's a 50,000 lineup with a 12, right? Henderson captain, Sweeney, Davis, Stafford, Kupp, Allen, 50K lineup. Now maybe it's more than 12. Maybe it ends up being 22 times, something like that. So I'm just trying to look. These aren't lineups that I'm looking to play. This is just like 300 lineups that more and more combinations. If people are using the RG projections, they'd be building these types of lineups. Okay. Then also what I could do to see those combinations is I could get out of the duplication predictor and go into the portfolio correlation matrix. There's another tool at theoryofdfs.com. It's included. James updates these all the time. And he added some Showdown stuff. I mean, like every week he goes in and he gets feedback and he goes, okay, this could be simpler this way. This could be easier that way. So you can download these at any time. If you buy the course, right, comes with 6 hours of audio. It's my advanced course. I don't know if I can explain anything more in that course. You get this and you get all 7 tools. So go to theoryofdfs.com and pick it up. But I'm going to go here. I'm going to extend this to widescreen. So a correlation matrix is just this, is what you see up here. So it's like how correlated in these 300 lineups, because all I did, same thing as before. I just imported the lineups. Cut and paste. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't even need projections for this tool, right? You can make 300 lineups and just plug them in, right? You load them in, and then you get this whole correlation matrix, right? All the players with each other. So you see these captains Obviously, anything with a 1, you'll see this diagonal because obviously it's the same person on both ends. James Cook is 100% correlated with James Cook. Yeah, because it's the same person, right? But then you can see who is in most people's lineups. Like we see Isaiah McKenzie, right? Isaiah McKenzie obviously is not correlated with Isaiah McKenzie captain because you can't play the same player in both spots. So it'll be a 0. So Isaiah McKenzie is correlated to a bunch of people, more than others. Now, it's hard to read this portfolio correlation matrix, right? You're going to look and I'm like, I'm going to, one here, I got to scroll this way. That's why I created these columns, okay? So these columns over here in the beginning, is in the front, if you could see, by my head, I'll just show you that the number of lineups and the R values of the top players, like the guys that are more correlated to each other in your lineups. So Stafford and Allen. That makes sense. Both quarterbacks. You got both quarterbacks in a lot of these lineups. You got Isaiah McKenzie and Stephon Diggs in a lot of lineups. And Stephon Diggs, and you'll see all these things twice because it's player A, player B, and vice versa. Okay? So you're looking through here and you go, what R value, right? Based on these lineups, a lot of Allen captains have Diggs, right? A lot of Diggs captains have Allen, only because I built those types of lineups, right? If you have a receiver and the captain, the quarterback is in the flex. So all the receiver captains will have a 1 R value. But you're taking a look and you're saying, okay, which ones are more or less correlated to each other in the lineups? I'm not talking about correlated to the performance on the field, just in lineups. Well, an easier way to even see that is in this middle column with the lineup percentage, the max R2, and the variance factor. So the variance factor is how much of your portfolio is reliant on these players. Now, obviously, it's going to be on probably the most owned players, the most in your lineups. So we can see here that Stafford, McKenzie, Diggs, Allen, Kupp, right? Allen as a captain, right? But when we get to all the way to the bottom, which ones have the lowest variance factor? Crowder, Sweeney, right? Khalil Shakir, Tutu Atwell, somewhere in the down range. So, like, if you take a look here, based on the portfolio that we built, which is kind of like a slice of what we think the field is going to do, we could see what combinations maybe we avoid or have more or less of. And then combine that with the duplication predictor, play lineups that are less duplicated. Okay. So how can we do that? Okay, so I'm gonna look right here. I'm gonna say, okay, we got a lot of Stafford, Allen lineups together, right? McKenzie at captain. It's very hard to make those without leaving a lot of money on the table. You may have to make multiple builds. So let's say you were to make McKenzie captains. Maybe you set the salary for like 47 max and see what they look like and plug them into the duplication predictor. Right? Like maybe you don't play Diggs and Allen lineups. Right? We start looking here. It's like a lot of lineups that have Cooper Kupp. Like, if you're going to play a very expensive player, especially in the captain, you're going to get a lot of Isaiah McKenzie, right? The field is also. So maybe that's something that we try to avoid a bit, okay? Or what we can do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to split this again, just so we could see both. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and now I'm going to clear all of the exposures and everything, just so now we could maybe build lineups of our own instead of what we think the field is going to do. Yeah, let's clear those out. You could go into build rules and do it, but I have other settings in there that I set beforehand that I don't want to have to do again for the sake of time. And we got the captains here. Okay, so we get rid of the captains. Okay, we get rid of tab, delete, tab, delete. Are we good? We get them all. We get this. Okay. Now we're a fresh start. Okay. So now we want to build lineups, and I'm going to look at the lowest variance factor players. And maybe I want to be over the field on those. I mean, this is like a blunt methodology. Okay. So I'm not saying that you have to build lineups like this, but I'm just saying as a blunt methodology, I'm going to go and it's like, okay, I want to be more on Dawson Knox. So maybe these guys, I want to be like double the field just for the sake of building a portfolio. So the ownership on Dawson Knox for a captain is 1.3% currently. Let's put him at 4. Okay, minimum of 4. So we at least get 4. Then we have another Cam Akers captain. Okay, we haven't projected at 4.5 projected owned. Let's 10. Let's double it. Kind of double it. Then we got Singletary at captain. He's 4. So let's make him 8 to double it. Henderson at captain. Right? He's at 1. So let's make him 4 also. Okay, so let's go give him some stuff. Stafford is also pretty low. So maybe we do a little bit more Stafford. Let's see. Where's Stafford? Stafford's at 9. So let's give him 14 or something. Get more of him. And we got Higbee. Higbee, a captain, is 1.74. So let's put him at 4 also. We go through and you see, okay. Cup. I mean, now we start getting to the ones that are much more likely. So Cup is lower. Davis, Robinson. So maybe we get more Cup. Maybe Cup isn't going to be as owned. I mean, we have him at 19.65. So let's put him at 26. Right? Just when we get more. Maybe we even up it even more. Right? So how much do we have here? Because it'll fill out everyone else also. So maybe we leave Henderson at 4. We put Dawson Knox at 6. Higbee at 6. Singletary at 10. Akers at 12. We got to give him a little bit more. 16, 28. Okay, 20. Now we could also do that for the flex. We're going to look at the lowest variance factor players based on what we believe our opponents are going to do, just so we get more of those players. We still may get some heavily duplicated lineups by doing this. But we want to get more of the lower variance factor players in this we want a negatively correlated portfolio to this. That's essentially what we're trying to build. Something that is the opposite of this as much, with still being within reason. Okay, so I'm going to go to the flex spots, and I'm going to look down here. Jamison Crowder. Okay, everyone's playing McKenzie. Maybe Crowder gets more slot snaps. So I'm going to let me sort by fantasy points or salary, make it easier. So Crowder, right? Because he doesn't project that well, right? He's low projected, 5K, 4.64, right? But let's get more. 9 ownership. Let's double that. 18. Let's get a minimum of 18 in there. Okay, we also have Tommy Sweeney, the second tight end. He's going to be barely owned, right? So let's put him at 4. So we get 4% of him at least. And then we got the Bills defense coming in at 6. So let's get 12. Dawson Knox. Okay, Rams defense. We're going to up that. Okay, 5. Let's put them at 10. Let's get more of them. And we get Zach Moss. Where's Zach Moss? He's going to be around 3% owned. So let's get a little bit more of him. 6. Right? Because we still want the other guys. Right? We don't want our lineups to be all of these players because it's going to be very low projected. Let me see. Shakir. Okay, Khalil Shakir. He's a rookie. 1% owned or whatever. Let's put him at 4. Let's put Tutu Atwell. Right? He'll be the 3rd, 4th wide receiver. Right? Let's put him at 4. Let's get a little bit more of him. Then we got Higbee. Let's get a little bit more Higbee in the flex. 14% owned. So let's give him a 22. Is that good? 14 or just 28 even? Just double it? Because we're getting up there now. So maybe we don't double. Then at 22, 24. That sounds good. Akers. We got Akers, Knox, and Gay. Okay, so Akers. Where's Akers? Akers is up here. So we want a 27% owned. So maybe 40. Akers, Knox, and Gay. So the regular Knox, not the captain Knox. 19% owned. So let's put him at 30. And then a little bit more of Matt Gay. 12% owned. Let's put him at 18. Okay. Just that we want more of these low variance factor players for this portfolio that we're looking at. Right? The portfolio of our opponents. More likely lineups than from our opponents. And the rest, we just whatever. Let's see what 300 lineups look like that with no caps on the captain. So we may get a lot of the same captains. So let's see what happens when we do this. So I'm going to build the 300 lineups and let this run. Shouldn't take that long. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the YouTube chat. In the YouTube chat, give me those thumbs. But this is the kind of process. I'm showing you, okay? I'm showing you, not like something that's theoretical. This is literally how I will be building my Showdown lineups, okay? Tonight, this is literally what I do. Okay, it's not hiding. Okay, that here's something for you to use, but I use something different. No, this is what I do. This is exactly what I do. We're not trying to predict outcomes. We're trying to build better lineups than our opponents that are less duplicated, that have a higher win probability than the average lineup in the field. So yeah, we still look here. We're still getting a lot of McKenzie and Stafford and Allen and Diggs. We're getting tons of them. Yeah, but that's fine. I get it. So now we have a lineup portfolio. Let's take a look at the captains. Right, we got a lot of Cooper Kupp at captain, Stafford, and we're still getting Allen, Akers, right? Because we're forcing these guys in. Now we're only getting 4% of our lineups with McKenzie captain, right? Let's see. Who are we not getting? We get much lower on Allen, much higher on Stafford because we're forcing that in. We take a look at the flex, and it's like we're barely getting any Singletary in the flex, or even Henderson in the flex. I mean, we're getting a lot more of, right? Because this is not based on ownership. We adjusted the ownership in the projections here. So you're getting Skrowinek, you're getting McKenzie. Okay. So I'm going to take this output and we're going to put this in the duplication predictor. Okay, so let me bring that up. Okay. So we got the duplication predictor over here, and I'll export it. Jason Hull says fading Kupp seems like the way to go with him probably 80% owned. That would not be the proper way to think about it. Okay? That's why you should tune into the show every day. If you're only building, you could build a lineup with Kupp or you could build a lineup without Kupp. So there's no way to go. You can build a lineup that is unique, 100% unique, and is high enough projected for you to win first place, $1 million by yourself with Kupp in it. And there's also ways to do it without Kupp. Doesn't matter. Yes, there are probably more lineups without Kupp because Kupp is going to be more owned. So there's more ways to build unique lineups without Kupp. But to say that there's no Kupp lineups, like you have to get away from the black and white thinking. Don't think in terms of yes or no. It's just more or less. What if you play Kupp in a lineup? How could you get unique? Because you're going to have to. You can't just play Kupp and Stafford and then play Diggs and McKenzie. Like, no, you're not going to play that lineup. You're going to have to play Tutu Atwell and Tommy Sweeney in that lineup. Right? That's the type of lineup. Khalil Shakir, that type of stuff, or something that seems negatively correlated. Right? You're playing the defense against your quarterback. Right? Because defensive touchdown, the quarterback gets the ball back. So it's not necessarily negatively correlated. So don't think in terms of what you have to do. There's no such thing. Just build plus EV lineups. Now, if you're building one lineup and it's like, well, I have to choose. Am I playing Kupp or am I not? Well, you can build one with it. You can build one without it. If you decide on today, it's like, I think the easiest way for me to do is just find a non-Kupp lineup and play that. Okay, then that's fine. But don't say that oh, you got to do this. You get the easiest thing. You got to, like, there's nothing. You can build a lineup with Kupp that is unique. So let me export this. So I'm going to hit the export button. I'm going to get that CSV. I'm going to open it up in Excel, and I'm going to plug it in to the duplication predictor. Right? We already got the projections in, so we don't have to do it. So I'm going to clear lineups here. I'm going to go cut and paste. Take A through F. Copy. You'll see how easy it is. Look, I'm just cutting and pasting. Right? Done. Right? And now I'm going to load the lineups in. Okay. Okay. Now we got a little bit more unique lineups. Right? We still got plenty of dupes. Right? So now we're going to look at these. So I'm going to close that. So if we sort by dupes, by most dupes, I have to stretch my head in order to see on the side of the screen. Right? So let's move that over just to see. We still get, these McKenzie lineups. Right? It's still here because the lineup builder is still building those lineups, right? They're the highest projected lineups. They're the highest owned lineup. We still got that cash lineup is still in there, right? Because people will put that in, but we want to look at the bottom end. Right, the bottom end of this. Go to ascending. Right, Cooper. Here's a Cooper Kupp lineup and the captain. Kupp, 49-2. Kupp with Stafford, Allen, McKenzie, Crowder, and Sweeney. Right? Because of Crowder's owners, most people are going to play Crowder and McKenzie together. Right? The three, no Davis, no Diggs, no Singletary. So the three, the crappier options for the Bills with Josh Allen. And then Kupp with Stafford. 49-2. Is it going to be duplicated? Is it going to be unique? I don't know how unique. We're predicting around 0, probably under 10. But you can see here's another Kupp lineup with the captain. Kupp lineup, right? Here's Kupp with Stafford, right? And then we got the Rams defense, Matt Gay, Khalil Shakir, Josh Allen. Sounds like a pretty unique lineup to me, right? You're playing kicker, defense, fourth wide receiver for the Bills, and Josh Allen. Josh Allen could rush a couple of touchdowns in it. Maybe Diggs doesn't get there. So these are more of the lineups that I'm looking to play. And then we take a look at some lineups that leave a ton of money on the table. Like here's one 40,600. Higbee captain with Zach Moss, Rams defense, Dawson Knox, Cam Akers, and Matthew Stafford. So this looks like more of it's a 4-2, right? You got Knox and Higbee. That seems like a pretty unique line. I mean, look, you're kind of fading everyone in that type of lineup, right? So you could look through here and like which ones are the least duplicated. But let's say in the duplication predictor, for instance, I'm going to bring this up. So let's say we have these 300 lineups. It's like, okay, these are my 300 candidate lineups. And obviously we're going to get rid of the most duplicated ones, right? That cash lineup at the top, right? Because the lineup builder is going to build those lineups and then eventually build the lineups that we want to play. So I'm going to go to now we have another tool that I'm going to open up. It's called the portfolio trimmer. Okay. So I'm going to move this over. We got a ton of stuff going on here. So let me open this up. Because we're going to cut the lineups into the portfolio trimmer and get rid of those high owned lineups. We're also going to get rid of the low projected lineups. Oh, this lineup's unique, but it's projected for like 2 points. Does it matter that it's unique? No. It has very little chance of coming in first. So let's let this load up. I got Excel stuff going on. I got windows all over the place. Right? These things aren't instantaneous. They're running on your own computer. So the more stuff you got running, the slower they'll be. So I'm waiting for this to load. Now, obviously, we could go through lineup HQ and X out those lineups. We could go in and go, oh, this one's too high owned. This one's so much easier if you could just load 300 lineups and right and do it yourself, right? Okay, so let's bring this up. So I got tons of stuff all over the screen, Okay, so I'm gonna have to insert the projections. I'm gonna grab them from. I could just download them, right? I'll show you. Like I'm just showing you how to do it from scratch, even, right? So this little button up here, if you can see it, everything is small. But I'm going to download the players again. Just save that. Open that up in the download manager. There you go. It's on my other screen. And then all I have to do is match the columns, right? So player ID to projected ownership. It's right in order. Player ID to projected ownership. Copy. And then I just cut and paste. I just paste it right here. Okay. I also want the ceiling, floor, and the salary. Ceiling, floor, cut and paste. Cut and paste right over here. Paste that over there. Salary. Cut and paste that column. Copy. Paste it right there. Right. And I also want to change that projected ownership for Skrobanek, right, to 13.09, right, just as a broad. And then wherever McKenzie is, because he's going to be much higher up. McKenzie's not going to be 16.75. He's more like 36.75. Okay. Change that. Okay, that's closing out over there. And then we could insert the lineups, right? And I could clear the lineups here. Right? These projections are fine, right? We got the projections, okay. And then we're going to paste in the same lineups that we just had, right? I could export it again. You can see right on the screen. I export, save. Oh, I'm going to open it up. Right? It's on my other screen, but you can see it here, right? Here's the lineups. Just all you do. There you go. A to F. Copy. You go to A. Paste. Done. Right? It's DK Showdown. We got that format right. Close out this. And now we can load these in, load into Portfolio Manager. Okay? And there we go. And this works for any sport or any, like, I'm going to extend this. This works for, is it coming through? Okay, there we go. This works for any sport and any format. Okay, so obviously there's columns left for a classic slate, for an NBA slate. It doesn't matter. So this works for everything. So it's not just NFL. So you can see here are the players. Here are the lineups. Here's the projection based on the RG projections, the floor, the ceiling, the ownership sum, the price. And there are these thresholds that I could trim based on any threshold that I want. So we look at the really low in our portfolio. Like, look at this lineup, 63. It only projects for 63. So this may be a unique lineup, but it's Higbee at captain with Moss, Rams, Dawson Knox, Cam Akers, and Staff. Yeah, we were looking at that, right? Weren't we looking at that lineup before? It projects for what? It projects for what? 40, 50 points lower than the top lineup? I mean, maybe it's unique, but its win chances are probably pretty slim. Pretty slim. And then we got these high-owned lineups, right? Ascending, descending, right? So 281, McKenzie at captain. So maybe we start trimming these, right? So maybe start trimming and go, we want to get rid of all the lineups that are over, the highest ownership is 250, right? Well, we don't mind. But the projection threshold, okay, we want to get rid of the ones. We sort by projection. Ascending, okay. So maybe we want to get anything under 80. Right? So we can do that. So I can set the low at 80, right? Ownership high at 250. Projection low is 80. Salary, we can even get rid of stuff based on salary. So if we take a look at, let's see. To go by projection, we go by ownership. So let's go by ownership, descending. What are the highest owned lineups? I mean, some of the lineups are 48.8, 48.6. Do we got some low lineups that still use most of the salary? Yeah, we still got a 50,000 here. So maybe we don't screw with the salary threshold. So if I just want to get rid of right now lineups that don't project for at least 80 and are lower owned than 250, all I have to do is set those thresholds and then trim it. You press the button and there you go. It's done. Right? So you get all the lineups. If we sort by ownership, this should trim it. Ownership percentage type is sum. This should do it. We got rid of the projection though, right? I believe. I don't know. Projection, ownership threshold should be 250. We'll set this for 0. Okay. Don't know why that's not working. Or it is working and it's not, I'm not giving it enough time. Okay, but you could trim based on that. So then you could take these lineups and I can set this to an export, right? Reload the portfolio, right? The difference between looking at the names and looking at the export, if you need the export because you're going to cut and paste this into Draftkings, you need the export versions of this, right? If you go to the view by names, it's just easier to see, right? We can take a look. There you go. There you can just see the names, but you can't just cut and paste these into Draftkings. So we go back to export, reload portfolio. So now I take a look and I go, okay, now I'm going to go through I'm going to see what lineups, salary-wise, projection-wise, right? Because I reloaded the portfolio, so I didn't trim it, right? So maybe I want projected lineups that are maybe under 100. Median or ceiling. Maybe I want to eliminate based on ceiling or anything like that. I could just do that right in this tool. So I'm gonna set the projection threshold to 80 to 100. Trim thresholds. And obviously, the more lineups that you put in, the little bit slower it gets. Okay, so there we go. We did it. So between 80 and 100, we got only the lineups that are between 80 and 100. And I got tons of stuff running on my computer, so it's a little bit slow. The smart trim function, what that will do is it will eliminate all lineups that have a lower projection than its ownership. So for instance, up here, like if this projection is going to be 99 and that one is going to be lower than it, the ownership should also be lower. So this lineup down here at 254, this lineup down here at 254, it's so much lower projected but higher owned. So if you wanted to get rid of those lineups automatically like that, especially if you're playing a small set of lineups, that's what we call smart trim. So I could click smart trim and it'll trim all of those lineups. And it may take a couple of seconds because we have 300 lineups in here. And you could do this with 3,000 lineups, okay? You could load this thing up with God knows how many lineups. It'll take a little bit longer depending on how many lineups are in. So now I've just trimmed to lineups that have a projection versus ownership difference. So you can see here the projection goes down and the ownership goes down. Then you take a look and you got what? You got 14 lineups, many of which have Josh Allen a captain and McKenzie in there. So it doesn't mean that these lineups aren't duplicated. We could check that. Okay, maybe, hey, here are the lineups that we have left. So you know what we could do? I could take these lineups, right? I could cut and paste, right? Copy. And I'm going to go into the duplication predictor that we got, right? You can see that here. Right? I'm going to clear these lineups, and I'm going to paste these lineups that I just got from the portfolio trimmer. Right? Let's see. Oh, okay. I already cleared it. You're going to clear it first. Cut and copy. Go over to the duplication predict. Paste that in. Right? Load lineups. And there you go. You go, okay, based on that, what's the prediction on how many duplicates? So obviously the ones that have lower in salary, that have lower ownership, right? Because we don't even need projections for this. So we can see here, here's 11. Here's one that at 11. So this is Stafford at captain with Atwell, Gay, Allen Robinson, Diggs, and Allen, right? Which is kind of a weird lineup because Stafford to Atwell. I mean, if he's going to be, Stafford's not much of a rushing quarterback. Oh, you got Allen Robinson in there. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is fine. Like this would be maybe a lineup that you could play. Only 11 possible dupes for $1 million. That may be fine. I'm probably looking for under 10s or under 5s. But we also got a lineup here at 4. Allen at captain, Shakir, Knox, Higbee, Robinson, Cup. Okay, so you got 3 Rams receivers. They got Allen with Knox and Shakir. Basically no Davis and no Diggs. No McKenzie. Right, here's two that are 0. Right, because they leave a ton of money on the table. It said Allen captain with Sweeney, Gay, Higbee, Akers, Diggs. And we looked at the lineup before, I think. Then we have Stafford at captain with Atwell and Higbee and the Rams defense, and then Knox and Allen. And then you leave 4,800 on the table. So I hope you could see here that you could feel free to build builds any way you want. Like you don't even have to make the exposures like the way that I did before. You could say I'm going to build 300 Josh Allen lineups. Right? Let's say you're building 20 lineups for tonight's slate. You're like, okay, I'm going to use lineup HQ to build 300 Josh Allen captain lineups. Maybe they all have to have Diggs. Maybe that's what you want. So you build 300 of them. Then you go to you download the tools at theoryofdfs.com. You get the advanced course, and you use these Excel tools to take those 300, trim them down, and see which one's the most duplicated. And maybe you pick out of the 300, You pick 4 of them. You go, those are my 4 Josh Allen captain lineups. And then you do it again for the Cooper Kupp captains. Then you do it again for and you don't have to build 300, build 100, build 50. And then piece together the 20 lineups that you're going to play just like that. Maybe see what lineups you could do. You could do different things. You could go, instead of me selecting a captain, let me just X out Isaiah McKenzie and see what 300 lineups could show up. Let me X out Cooper. The guy before wanted to fade Cooper Kupp, so X him out. X him out, and then pick lineups that don't have Cooper Kupp, that are less duplicated, are high enough projected, and these are the highest plus EV lineups you could find of any different configuration. But like I said, you got to get ownership right for this. So that's why, you saw before I changed the Skrowinek ownership up and the McKenzie ownership significantly up. I think by the time that lock hits tonight, that will be reflected on RotoGrinders. But as of right now, here in the morning, that's why ownership is always going to be better, especially with the inactives. So I wouldn't even be doing this until 90 minutes before lock anyway. So I'm just showing you this as an example. But if I left Skrowinek at 3% and McKenzie at 15%, it would show a lot of their lineups to be much less duplicated than what they're actually going to be. They're going to be higher owned. And if you don't agree with certain ownerships and you want to be, this guy's going to be even less owned, so change it. No problem. Change what you want. It's what you think. But look, it's not that the stuff that I showed you today with these. I showed you 3 tools at once. Right? The duplication predictor, the portfolio trimmer, and the portfolio correlation matrix. These are things that, in tandem with lineup HQ, these are things that don't exist in the industry. Right? You can't do this efficiently. You could do it manually. You know how long that's going to take. But you could build 300, you could build 3,000 lineups, build 10 builds. Let's say you want to build 300 Josh Allen captains, and then 300 Kupp captains, 300 of 10 different captains. And don't even trim until you get all of them done. So you export 300 at a time. And now you have 3,000 lineups in the portfolio trimmer. And then you go by that. You put them in the duplication checker. You go get rid of those. Right? Because you could even use the duplication predictor, get rid of the lineups that are too high duplicated, and then put it back into the portfolio trimmer. And then trim from there. And bring it into the portfolio correlation matrix to figure out, are you playing too many guys that are similar together in lineups? It's like, all my 2-2 outlaw lineups have Matt Gay in it for some odd reason. And you go, okay, maybe I select lineups that don't have those 2 together. So I don't have all of those lineups kind of correlated to each other. You could do this, and you saw me do it. You could do this in a matter of minutes, right? You got 90 minutes for NFL lock tonight. Said you could do all of this and get 20 lineups that you want to play. I don't know, 10 minutes, right? If you're quick enough. Less than that, I could probably do it in maybe 5 or 6. But dude, it analyzes all your lineups. But of course, it's a matter of what you put in. This isn't going to tell you what to play. It's not going to highlight, this is the lineup and that's the lineup. And it's not predicting outcomes. It's just using the publicly available projections that we have for Grinders premium members, and then being able to manipulate stuff that you can't necessarily do in lineup HQ. So this is a way to do it much more efficiently. And you're looking in Showdown to find lineups that have a high enough projection that are going to be duplicated the least, especially for these large field GPPs. So it's not a matter of who you think is going to do well. Because, yes, it may feel nice to share first place with 3,200 of your friends. That's not that great. Your lineup has the max payout of $800. While my lineups have the max payout of $1 million. Or 100,000, right? A 10-way split or something. And my lineups aren't going to project that much differently from your lineups. So why not play those lineups? Find those lineups. As I always say, it's about lineups. It's not about players. It's about thummy thumbs also. So give me those thummy thumbs. Showed you some stuff. I know it's kind of small on the screen because I have 327-inch monitors, so I have to look around. I got all the space or whatever, and running stuff at the same time. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Always on this channel. We have tons of content on this channel for prop betting, for multiple sites, for NFL, for MLB, for everything. Later tonight, I believe it's SDL Cards and Will that I'll be doing the NFL pre-lock show, heading into 8:20 820. Remember, 815 versus 820. Sometimes it'd be, it's an 820 lock. Nope, it's 815 lock. You're screwed, right? That's happened to Will before. So I guess STL Cards has to remind him it's an 820 lock, Will. Okay. So check that out later, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit anything. Hit anything. And if you want these tools that I just showed in Excel, they're part of the Theory of Daily Fantasy. It's a 15-hour. It's a 6-hour advanced course with 7 Excel tools, and obviously there's the fundamentals, which is 15. Go to theoryofdfs.com and pick it up. Right? You got to pay for it, but you can pick it up anyway. And I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing MMA, right? And MMA is kind of similar, right? We're looking for like less duplicated lineups, so it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be kind of a similar process tomorrow for MMA. So check that out. If you're a RotoGrinders premium member, the MMA Ground and Pound podcast should be coming out later tonight or early tomorrow morning. That's with me, Mike, H3 Buddha, and Liam. So if you want to fight breakdowns, it'll probably be about an hour and a half long or so. And then I'll be handing you tomorrow for all your MMA UFC needs. It's a pay-per-view coming up on Saturday, 13 fights. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. And then I'll be back. This show runs Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, where I answer your DFS strategy questions as well as anything else that you'd like on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.